You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. We have a lot to talk about today, a lot of serious business going on, and man. So Putin, things are really getting really hot and heated and out of control with Russia and Ukraine. And I'll just read you this headline. Russian nuclear military train is seen on the move, and possible warning to the West that Putin is prepared to escalate his war in Ukraine. A huge freight train moving special military equipment associated with nuclear arms-wielding division of Russia's defense ministry has been spotted on the move, prompting fears of an escalation in Putin's war. These are their words, not mine. And it goes into some details about what's going on here. Let me tell you, okay? They were talking about this on Fox over the weekend. I know a lot of problems at Fox, but sometimes they got some. And one of the things they were talking about, and this is spot on, right on the money, things need to be cooled off big time.
Oh, yeah.
With Russia and the United States and Ukraine, and we do not have a statesman out there who is interested or willing to do anything about it. In fact, I would say this is the first time that we have been in a bad situation in the country where we don't have a single leader. Like, for example, when the Bushes were lying us into WMDs in Iraq with Liz Cheney's war criminal father, Dick Cheney, we had Colin Powell, and I know Colin Powell's a liberal and all that stuff, and he went on to be a never-Trumper and all that. But he was someone that was respectable and respected. Remember, he went to the UN and lied about weapons of mass destruction. He had some weight to him. He sold this whole war to the world. He was lying about the WMDs, but he was a well-respected until then, national. We don't have anyone like that now. And this is Blinken. He's our Secretary of State. Listen to this. He's talking about the Nord Stream pipeline explosions and how it's a good thing. Listen.
Ultimately, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy, and thus to take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization of energy as a means of advancing his imperial designs. That's very significant, and that offers tremendous strategic opportunity for the years to come. But meanwhile, we're determined to do everything we possibly can to make sure that the consequences of all of this are not borne by citizens in our countries.
Okay, yeah, blah, blah, blah. That's Blinken, the most effeminate Secretary of State in history.
More than Janet Reno?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Janet Reno is much more masculine than him, but she was Attorney General. He's Secretary of State. Did I say Attorney General? I might have. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, she was Attorney General. No,
yeah,
you're right.
well, I'd rather...
my mistake.
I would rather Janet Reno, who was the Attorney General, who had a lot of problems, and what she did with Elian Gonzalez. I'd rather her be in charge of this. She was a disaster. It's her fault that Bin Laden wasn't taken out by Clinton. But they would do better jobs than this. Listen, this is what's really frightening. And I want you guys to think about this. They're talking about a train filled with nuclear weapon equipment on the move in Russia. Putin has been talking about nuclear weapons. Over the weekend on Russian state television, they were showing mushroom clouds. And people in this country that are in positions of power, all these retired lieutenant generals and lieutenant colonels that have their government pensions and work for these military-industrial complex companies, they're acting like nuclear. Well, oh, no big deal. It'll last 3 weeks. He'll launch his nukes. We'll respond.
It's like a game to these people.
It's stupid. It's just stupid, and it's scary.
It is.
A lot of you may not be old enough to remember the day after when it was on television. I got goosebumps just saying the day after. When that came on television was a big deal. Everybody watched it.
I remember.
Everyone talked about it. And what the day after was, it was a TV movie that Steve Guttenberg was in. Can you believe?
Whatever happened to him?
I think he asks himself that question every morning. Whatever happened to me? What happened to me? But there were Jason Robarbs and a lot of other people, and John Lithgow and all these people. Some of them went on to be famous. But what the day after was about was the day before a nuclear war, the day of the war, and then the day after the war. And people were scared to death.
Oh, yeah, it was terrifying.
When that movie came on. And if you watch it, I know it's online, and you can probably find it online, and I know it's probably on YouTube. And it may seem ridiculous today, but back then it was scary.
It was a big deal. I remember when that movie, wasn't it a TV movie?
It was a TV movie.
It was a TV movie. Like back then we called them a mini series. Now they called it a limited series, but it was a mini series. And they would be on sometimes night after night or sometimes week after week. I'm not sure how they aired that, but it was like 3 or 4 nights. And it was on what year was that? I think
it was probably around 83-ish.
Middle school. Okay. And that was a big deal, that movie. Everybody was talking about it. It was scaring everyone. Plus, you had people that were like our age that lived through the 50s with all that. My dad told me when he was in high school in the 50s and growing up, they would have to do bomb drills and hide under the desk as if that would do any good. And he said they did that all the time because there was the bomb scares back then. I agree. They need to cool things off, de-escalate. That's what real leaders do. Real leaders—
They're escalating.
Yeah.
They're escalating.
Real leaders and the media doesn't help. They need to de-escalate things quickly. And I really would like to see Biden. I don't know how competent he is in this. I mean, I would like to see Trump. I think Trump should go to Russia and have a meeting with Putin. And see if he can de-escalate things. Honestly, I think he could.
I just looked this up. The day after, by the way, was November 83. You can watch it on—
So I was in 8th grade.
You can watch it on Amazon, Apple TV, BritBox. It's on Discovery Plus.
I'll have to watch it again.
And a bunch of other, let's see. No. I'm not sure if it's on all those.
Interested.
I'm not sure if it's on. Anyway, find it online. Well, let me tell you, that movie was so frightening. The TV movie the day after— what it did is it showed how a nuclear war cannot be won. And, and that movie probably played a big role in defeating the Soviet Union in the Cold War. And what's going on right now is an escalation. Now, Putin said, well, the United States, they set the precedent. We dropped 2 bombs on Japan. And let me tell you, okay? I mean, we dropped 2 bombs on Japan, and nobody else had nuclear weapons at the time. And Japan surrendered because they were afraid we would drop nuclear bombs on all their cities. And what the big secret was, after the bombs dropped, we didn't have any more. We only had 2. If they knew we didn't have any more, maybe they would have continued to fight.
Well, how do you feel about them dropping those 2 bombs?
It was the right thing to do. But right now,
well, like Putin said, we set the precedent.
Well,
so.
there was a different thing then. It's
a matter of perspective.
They were worse than Al Qaeda and ISIS because they were larger. They were all over the place. They did terrible things. Yeah. But the United States is egging on Putin, and I'm telling you, we are approaching what they're talking about now. And Zelensky started this crap. This 2-bit actor, comedian, stand-up comedian. Who's bringing America into—
It's incredible that this guy is leading this country.
He's leading America, Zelensky, into a nuclear war.
It's incredible, this guy, like you said, who's some 2-bit comedian actor.
From Ukrainian TV.
Yeah. Could you imagine who would be the equivalent of that here in this country, running the country? Look, what's an actor, comedian that would be his equivalent?
Jon Stewart.
Jon Stewart?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think Jon Stewart, if he was running the country, do you think we'd be in a good place right now?
The guy from Everybody Loves Raymond? Somebody like that,
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Tim Allen would be good.
I would trust Tim Allen.
Absolutely.
But here's they're egging on Putin, and what they're talking about now, like it's no big deal. Well, we'll just do preemptive strikes on on Russian nuclear sites.
Oh my gosh.
And that'll settle the whole thing. Oh yeah, that'll settle it. We're going to do preemptive strikes on their nuclear arsenals, and Russia's just going to say, oh, okay, it's okay now. Are you kidding?
This is really the first war. I know Vietnam was going on still when we were kids, but I didn't know I didn't even know it was even happening. My parents weren't really involved at all or interested in, I never watched TV other than Saturday morning cartoons. But this is really, to me, there have been wars going on since we've been alive. The first war that we're watching in real time that has like, I don't know, it makes me kind of think of like a World War II type, like a world war that's like, this would be like our first world war that we've ever gone through.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't
Well, I don't know if we'd go through it. You know, Kathy.
What is Putin planning on? What is he threatening to do? Is he threatening exactly to bomb? Is he literally threatening to drop a nuclear bomb on Ukraine or on us?
No, they're just making suggestions. And listen to this.
It's like a pissing
Listen
contest.
to this. A former CIA director, I'm talking about Petraeus. Listen to this. A former CIA director, this is Petraeus, warned that the United States and NATO allies would destroy Russian forces
Oh my gosh.
if Putin used nuclear weapons in his war with Ukraine. David Petraeus appeared on ABC's This Week Sunday, where he said the nuclear threats by Putin need to be taken seriously and that the ruler is desperate as the battlefield reality he faces is irreversible. Putin signed a decree earlier this week to annex parts of Ukraine. Days later, Russia was forced to withdraw troops from one area. It goes on and on. You hear Petraeus here and others. They're talking, oh, it's no big deal. If he uses the nukes, we'll just take out his troops. Oh, it'll be nothing. Let me tell you, every single war they ever get you in, they tell you it's going to last a month. You can even go back to
they always say that.
Go watch the beginning of Gone with the Wind at the end of the party at Terra, when all the guys are like, yippee, we'll be home in 3 weeks.
That's true. They did do that.
And then the next scene, they're all dead. You know, and Vietnam was 10 years. The war on terror was 20 years. Give me a break. And when we went, and these guys we were fighting in the war on terror, they were getting around on horseback and donkeys in Afghanistan, and that war lasted 20 years. And they're talking about bombing Russia over Zelensky. Let me tell you, what this tells me is that the infiltration of the United States by people with Ukrainian interest is far more serious than we realize. You know, who was that overweight Lieutenant Colonel? Vindman from Ukraine, right? Remember? Vindman and his brother, Ukraine. You know, Michael Cohen, his wife is Ukrainian. The Ukrainians got a lot of juice over here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So maybe Michael Cohen never was on Trump's side.
I don't know, but I do know this.
Interesting.
That they're pushing us so close to war, and there is not a single credible, responsible person in our government that's trying to stop it. Donald Trump's not in the government right now. I know he's talking about the dangers of World War III and, you know, at his rallies and everything, and it's scary. I don't like talking about this at all.
I don't either. Do you think he should go to Russia and have a meeting with Putin?
He's got no juice while he's not in power.
You don't think he has any juice at all?
Not while he's not in the White House. He has to be in the White House. And let me tell you.
What if he becomes a candidate for president?
Yeah, he's got to win it. This country right now, this is the most dangerous and that situation any of us have lived through in this country in our lives. The Cuban Missile Crisis and all that stuff. We are closer to nuclear war today than we were during the Cuban Missile Crisis. And for the life of me, I don't understand what's going on with these people.
Well, I'll tell you what, liberals, there's corruption. That's what's going on. Liberals will tell you that things are still better than when Trump was in office. We're on the brink of nuclear war. There's crime everywhere. People can't afford gas, groceries. It's a whole, everything's a mess. You know,
yeah, it is.
And with this and Putin, but Democrats will still tell you, yeah, but it's better than with Trump.
No, it's not.
But that's how deluded they are. They would rather go to nuclear war under Biden than have Trump in office with peace.
Well, they're out of their minds.
This is how sick these people are.
Now, listen, Mike Lindell over at MyPillow, they're offering something that's amazing. They're doing it for those of you who are supporters of all the content I'm connected to, right? The radio show, the podcast here with Kathy, my YouTube channel, everything I do. And what they have added is a humongous special for those of you in this listening audience. Go to MyPillow.com. This is an amazing deal. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener special page, and you'll see the Overstock sale banner. Click it on. Oh, my goodness. The Overstock sale is for a very, very limited time. Mike Lindell and MyPillow are offering this to you and this listening audience, and those that, of course, follow me on YouTube and on the Steve Kane Radio Show, because you've shown such support for him and his fight for President Trump and the MAGA movement. And this is a special offer that they did offer just for you guys. So take advantage of this. It's a great time to start doing your Christmas shopping at MyPillow.com. If you've not already begun, and if you have started already, go back. Listen to this. You go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials. The Overstock sale, save up to 90%. That's 90. Save up to 90% off of MyPillow products, including, but not limited to, the MyPillow body pillow, which is a MyPillow that's the full length of the body to curl up with. The MyPillow clothing, the MyPillow pillowcases, huge sales on the bath towels. And here's something we do not have, Kathy, that I did not even know. MyPillow has bath mats that match the colors of the towels.
Oh, we definitely need those.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I was just thinking this morning, I need to get some bath mats.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. See, Mike Lindell, he's totally tuned in.
Isn't this amazing? And you can get the bath mats to match the color of the towels we have.
Yeah, everything's like color coordinated, which is really nice. The sheets and the towels and
that's right.
Everything. It's all very thoughtfully done.
And here's something I don't know what it is. The MyPillow bath sheets. I don't know what bath sheets are.
Bath sheets. I've never heard of that.
I don't know what bath sheets are.
Maybe
but
it's like a larger towel for bigger people, like taller or...
It looks like it's a bigger towel. That's
very,
right.
very good. I've never heard of a bath sheet, so this is like a whole new invention here.
I like I like to dry off with big towels. I'm not that big, but I like the big towels. I don't know. I like big towels. So maybe we got to get some of these. And you can also buy individually if you want to add to your towel collection, your sets. You can buy individual washcloths, hand towels for the kitchen, Kathy. The MyPillow hand towels.
You know what's good to think about? It's coming up the holidays. Not only think about for gifts, but also if you have company coming to stay at your house, how nice would it be to have the fresh MyPillow sheets and the pillows and the towels and like do up the whole area for them, or even have a nice gift basket with the washcloths or a set of sheets or towels. If you have company coming for Thanksgiving or Christmas, it's already October. I can't believe it. That's going to be here before you know it. I think those make such great gifts. And if you have people staying with you, how nice would it be if they lay in the bed and they look at you and they're like, yeah, man, this bed is comfortable. That's a good thing to do.
Now, this is on the Overstock specials that I'm going over now. Save up to 90%. A whole bunch of MyPillow blankets. The MyPillow waffle blanket. MyPillow quilts. It comes in many different colors. The MyPillow gossamer blanket.
I like the Bible pillows.
Oh, those are
really good for kids.
Yep. The MyPillow duvet cover. The Giza cotton pillowcases, the travel go anywhere MyPillows.
Oh, Emily loves that.
MyPillow now has, this is a new item. They're part of this in the Overstock special. MyPillow couch pillows. They're very nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They have added some new things.
Yeah, and I like those because we got to get some of these too, Kathy. That's something we don't have, the couch pillows, because I'm always like to fall asleep on the couch.
Yeah, those are perfect.
But they look nice.
They got their square shape like a couch pillow some of them supposed to be, but some are longer.
Yeah, some are longer. Some of them are like the square and rectangular.
Go on the couch, but you could sleep on them.
And there's a brand new item there as well, the feather bed 3-inch MyPillow topper, which is filled with real feathers and everything else. It's just great deals. So listen, go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and then you'll see the Overstock specials. Go there. Those are specially just for you. And with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you got to use our promo code to support all of our content here. Kane at checkout. You'll save up to 90%. It's a great deal. Okay, so they're calling Trump a racist again, and they got two things. They're saying that he threatened Mitch McConnell and then made a racist comment about his wife, and Trump posted the Truth Social a couple days ago, and I pulled up the comment of President Trump. So let me read this. I'm just going to read word for word what President Trump posted on Truth Social about Mitch McConnell and his wife a couple days ago. Keep in mind, Mitch McConnell's wife, Elaine Chao, was Donald Trump's Secretary of Transportation. She had Mayor Pete's job, okay? So this is what President Trump posted on Truth Social. Is McConnell approving all of these trillions of dollars worth of Democrat-sponsored bills without even the slightest bit of negotiation? because he hates Donald J. Trump and he knows I'm strongly opposed to them? Or is he doing it because he believes in the fake and highly destructive Green New Deal and is willing to take the country down with him? In any event, either reason is unacceptable. He has a death wish, which means politically, so far as re-election, must immediately seek help and advice from his China-loving wife, Coco Chow. Okay, now...
I've never heard that before.
Elaine Chao, Mitch McConnell's wife, okay, her last name is Chow. That's where that comes from. Coco, we'll talk about in a second. And I would imagine she loves China. She is from China. And her family not only are in China, they're very wealthy Chinese and have a Chinese company. Her father went to high school with the past, or high school or college with the past president of China. So she definitely loves China. And, you know, the press, what President Trump is doing here with this post on True Social is brilliant, which I'll tell you about in just a bit. But President Trump, anytime they accuse President Trump of anything, he always is cleared and proven right. And this Coco Chow that they're saying is racist, okay, Chow is her last name.
Right.
She didn't take the McConnell last name because she's from a famous Chinese family, influential Chinese family, so she kept the name
Chow over there. It's pretty common.
Yeah, well, she wants you to know that she's a Chow.
Yeah.
Now they're saying that he's a racist for calling her Coco Chow. This is what I bet you. I bet you. I bet you this. Chow's her real last name, so that's fine. It's the Coco part that we had. I bet you that's her nickname. You know, I bet you Elaine Chow's nickname is Coco. Oh,
maybe it's because of Coco Chanel, because she's like fancy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
I
Coco
bet
Chanel.
you anything that Mitch McConnell calls his wife Coco. Elaine.
Elaine Chow. So
Elaine Chow.
I don't think Coco's a nickname for Elaine, but that doesn't mean anything.
People got nicknames. You know, I bet you that Mitch calls her Coco, and no one knows that.
Maybe.
in the press. They're just so all over Donald Trump.
Wouldn't that be something?
Oh my goodness!
They would still say he's racist.
And it's interesting because CNN they've been pushing this for a couple days, and President Trump hasn't responded, and certainly hasn't removed his post.
He likes to let them dig their hole first.
Exactly.
I wanted to say something.
Well, let me finish up with this because Rick Scott commented on it, so I want to play this. So. I think Coco is what all of her friends call her, including her husband. And President Trump knows her very well since she was his Secretary of Transportation. So I bet he and everybody else always called her Coco. Yeah, that's right.
That's possible.
And I bet
that is a common nickname for women and dogs.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so this thing about Coco. Okay, so I think what you said too, it's one of these two. They probably call her that. Her family in China is super loaded. Remember, Elaine Chow's father gave Mitch McConnell $15 million just because he felt like it. So I think the Coco is her nickname because she is, like you said, Kathy, Coco Chanel, because she's rich and fancy, and they call her Coco Chow all the time, and all her friends do, and everything else.
People have to realize these political marriages are like how they used to marry people with a monarchy.
That's right. It's like Game of Thrones here.
They're power marriages.
That's right.
It's almost like, I almost feel like they have people that are matchmakers.
Yeah.
And they put these people together. They have separate lives. They screw around, whatever. But on paper, they're married like they used to marry off the Princess of France with the future King of England to create an alliance. And I feel that's what they do a lot of times, is that's how these marriages work.
Are you suggesting that Elaine Chao did not marry Mitch McConnell because of his looks?
Certainly not, or his body. No.
Could a man be more repulsive?
No. But what does she get out of it? Okay, the benefit she gets is the power.
The access to DC.
I mean, she was on Trump's cabinet. So he gets the money and the connections with China, and then she gets the access to the American government and the power in the Senate. So that's what this is to me. She's
like Dianne Feinstein's limo driver. Remember that guy?
These are like are arranged marriages where they're like they used to do in Europe.
Yeah, and I bet you anything that the Coco is the Coco Chanel. It is her nickname, and they all call her that because she is rich. She is rich. So Rick Scott, a little disappointed in Rick Scott. He was a great governor. He's one of our senators here in Florida.
Senator, just doesn't speak very well.
No, but he was on CNN, and of course they brought up this Coco Chow thing. And let's play. This is Rick Scott on CNN. Why is he going on CNN anyway?
Oh my God, this is embarrassing. I know.
To ask you about what appears to be a.
Is this Dana Bash?
Dana Bash.
Dana Bash interviewed Marco Rubio and Rick Scott on CNN this week, and I guess because the hurricane.
Yeah, the hurricane.
Do not go on CNN, Republican.
To ask you about what appears to be a threat by former President Trump against your colleague, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell. Trump said, quote, he has a death wish for supporting Democratic-sponsored bills.
Okay. He obviously meant politically. Okay, like the future of his seat in the Senate and the majority in the Senate and all this stuff.
Obviously, and I can remember CNN having guests on that have literally called for the death of Donald Trump. I mean, literally called it out. He needs to go.
Give me a break.
Come on.
Yeah, give me a break.
That's what Rick Scott should have said to her, but he didn't.
He also mocked McConnell's wife and his own former transportation secretary, Elaine Chao, as, quote, China-loving and Coco Chow. You're a member of the Senate GOP leadership. Are you okay with this?
You know, here's what I know. We got to watch how we spend our money. We got to stop this inflation. And, you know, I don't condone violence, and I hope no one else condones violence.
Nicknames are one thing, but this appears racist. Is that okay?
It's never, ever okay to be a racist. I think you always have to be careful, if you're in the public, eye, how you say things. You want to make sure you're inclusive. You want to make sure, like yesterday in the neighborhood I was in, we had people probably from 10 countries that live there. And so that's what's great about this country. And what I try to do is try to make sure everybody, especially all their kids, believe they have hope and they can live the dream of this country. So I hope no one is racist. I hope no one says anything that's inappropriate. So I'm going to do everything I can.
Okay. Rick Scott's not very fast on his feet. He basically just said that Trump's a racist, didn't he? It sounds that way to me. I mean, that's awful.
Yeah, I mean, he's so inarticulate.
Oh, my goodness.
And he has a history of being this way. This is nothing new. He has a hard time getting his words out, and he's always had this problem. It's amazing he's where he is politically because he's always been this way. But his answer should have been, look, I've seen people on your network literally call for Trump to be killed.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't go there. And he should say, look, I'm not responsible for what Trump says. Let's talk about the hurricane. That's why I'm here. Let's use your platform to get numbers out. And people, she had total control of him in that interview. And he was like her bitch. I'm sorry, but that's what he was. I mean, he didn't take control of it. Now, DeSantis knows how to take control of the media and turn things around and get them back on focus of what they should be focused on. Rick Scott was being led around like a little lapdog.
Now, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back after this.
Uplift your vibes and elevate your frequency with Vibing with Purpose. Vibing with Purpose is a spiritual botanica and magical tools and goodie shop. If you need a self-care kit, full moon box, mental health gift box, or need help removing bad vibes and energy from you, your children, or home, they got you covered. If you're looking for help on pampering yourself or a friend and any loved one's birthday or anniversary, they can help. They carry sprays, candles, crystals, jewelry, sage, spa kits, and gift boxes. Don't let hard times or bad vibes weigh you down. Let Vibing with Purpose get your life back on track. They ship fast within just 2 days of ordering to get all their handmade goods to you quickly. Use the promo code SHOP25 and save 25% off your order. Start vibing right now online at vibingwithpurpose.com or on Etsy, etsy.com/shop/vibingwithpurpose. Attention small business owners. Do you want a free way to increase your sales and grow your business? Then tune into Small Business Friday, a podcast to help business owners just like you. Small Business Friday is a podcast with a mission, and that's to give a free platform to small businesses so they can share their info with the public and bring in more customers. Listen to the experiences and expertise from host Joe Tant and Elton Hollis. Together, they create a podcast filled with actionable information to help you along your entrepreneurial journey. journey. You can listen to Small Business Friday on Facebook, LinkedIn, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and TikTok. Small Business Friday, filled with the small business tips you don't want to miss. Are you married, engaged, or contemplating a lasting relationship? Then you will want to add The Married Couples and Its Boundaries from author Margaret L. Alicott to your must-read list. This book is about marriage partnership and longevity. It offers an interesting way for a healthy relationship with boundaries. It has the do's and don'ts, what is acceptable behavior and communication. When you read The Married Couples and Its Boundaries, you will learn what a healthy relationship really looks like. It also offers beautiful and colorful ideas for a better relationship. Order your copy of this inspirational book, The Married Couples and Its Boundaries, from author Margaret L. Alicott, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. These Republicans got to stop going on CNN.
Or at least be really well prepared. I mean, you have all these people. It's really upsetting because we see it on the news. You have these people in a town which is 2 hours from us. Brian and I both, everybody who lives in Florida has been to Fort Myers, and it's like a vacation place. And the whole town, it's like a bomb was dropped. I mean, the whole town is completely destroyed. It's so sad. And here you got these politicians on the news, and all the media can do is talk about race and Trump, and they're useless. But anyway, I wanted to talk real quick about DeSantis. My mom is in Canada for her birthday. It's her 80th birthday, and she went back home and visiting her family and her sister and all this. And she's traveling around. She's in this little town called Haileybury, which is where my mom grew up. And she went there because they're having a 100th anniversary of this big fire that destroyed the town 100 years ago. Of course, she wasn't alive then. But anyway, she said everybody she meets, as soon as she tells them she's from Florida, what do you think they say?
I had no idea.
We love Ron DeSantis.
In Canada.
This is a little town. They don't even have Fox News there. You got to pay to get Fox News. They love Ron DeSantis.
Wow.
She said that is all people are talking about when she says, oh, I'm from Florida, this and that. The first thing out of their mouth, we love Ron DeSantis. Even in this tiny town, which is like an hour from Quebec.
That's amazing.
In northern Canada, where my mom grew up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
it is amazing.
Who
She
knows
was so
the governor?
excited.
That's how popular he is.
She doesn't even bring up his name.
She's in another country, and they know who the governor of Florida is.
In a little town. This isn't even Toronto, okay? This is like 4 hours north.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing.
So she's all excited.
You know,
they get very excited when she says she's from Florida.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's awesome, too, Ron
they
DeSantis.
love him there.
So listen to this. This is a UN official talking about how the United Nations keeps. I started this out way too early. Okay, this is an official from the United Nations talking about how they control the flow of science information. Listen to this. This is scary stuff. This is a UN official. Listen.
We partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. We own the science, and we think that the world, should know it, and the platforms themselves also do. But again, it's a huge challenge that I think all sectors of society need to be very active in.
Okay. I'm not going to go through all the points about global warming and climate change and all the nonsense they come with over the years. But what she's bragging about is how we scientists at the UN have stomped out any science that disagrees. Well, this is what went on during the Spanish Inquisition. Yeah. If someone disagreed with their science, that was it. You were tortured. You were this. You were that. You were imprisoned. You were killed. I remember this is crazy.
I don't remember, but I remember reading, like who I can't remember the person who said the sun was the center of the universe. Who was a Copernicus or one that they thought he was a heretic. I mean, you know, so what she's saying is, which was interesting.
Wasn't the center of the universe. The sun wasn't the center.
No, but somebody discovered it was.
It is not. The sun is not the center of the universe.
I mean, the center of our galaxy.
Of our
solar system.
Of our solar system.
This is what I mean.
The center of our solar system is the sun.
I'm tired.
You got it backwards.
The sun is the center of our solar system is what I meant. But they used to think the Earth was the center.
Let me correct what Kathy's saying.
Or whoever, Galileo, one of those guys said it was the sun.
Let me fix this,
and they
Kathy.
wanted to burn him at the
Science believed that the sun and the planets revolved around the Earth.
That's right. I knew, yes.
And then real scientists came up and said, no. The Earth and the other planets are all revolving around the sun, which is the center of our solar system.
Well, but at the time, they weren't considered real scientists. They were considered heretics.
Yeah, then they burned them and cut their hands off and stuff.
So what she's saying here, which was really interesting, is when they Google stuff, the stuff that she deems inaccurate is at the top. Well, that tells you that there's a lot of information out there that poo-poos global warming, and it's at the top of the search engine. So obviously a lot of people are looking at that, and there's a lot of things out there. So they basically want to get rid of or replace anything that challenges their narrative of climate change.
Well, it's not just that.
That's what they're on. That's what they're doing.
It's not just that. It's all science. It's not about climate change. You see, what's happened is science is political. Well, no matter what the science is, it's political.
It always has been.
And what they are book burners. Like, for example, I remember, this was about 10 or so years ago, there were some new textbooks that were science textbooks in a school district somewhere. And the left had a fit because it called evolution the theory of evolution. Well, that is what it is. It is a theory.
It's not proven at all.
And what liberals have decided, they can't win anything. They can't win any debates in the public square. So they do not have theories. They have facts. And the thing about science, beware of a scientist who does not want their scientific beliefs and theories challenged.
Oh, yeah.
If they can't hold up to being challenged, they're not very sound theories. And regardless of what your opinion is on climate change and global warming, okay, I'm not going to go through the whole thing about it. It's talked about endlessly.
Yeah.
But if I were one of these people that were part of the cult of climate change, the cult of global warming, I wouldn't want science that disagreed with it to be silenced. I mean, listen, we're Christians. We don't suggest that people who deny Christ should be silenced and shouldn't come up in Google searches because they disagree with us. That's crazy.
When they Google this and they see all these articles and things that point people in different directions, they panic because they can't control the messaging.
That's right.
They can't control the brainwashing. So they're trying to, and it's not about the truth.
And you know what?
It's about brainwashing.
It's this way on every time. The left. Nothing the left support, no matter what the subject is, I'm not just science, anything, cannot win against public debate. So what do? They came up with cancel culture. Cancel culture, anything that disagrees with the left, whether it's science, an opinion, politics, they want it just tossed out of society. That's what this MAGA Republican nonsense of Biden's is. MAGA Republicans are got to be gone.
That's not working for them. It's not a strategy that's working.
They want to cancel out any opinion on anything that does not agree with them because they can't defend their positions or in this instance, obviously their science against any type of debate. I mean, what kind of scientist brags? We have silenced all scientists who challenge our theories.
I mean, that's the opposite of what science
That's
is
the
supposed
Spanish
to be.
Exactly.
Exactly. Science is supposed to
crazy.
be about different theories, discovery, challenging yourself.
Debate.
Yeah, I mean, they just want to pass a narrative.
They're book burners. Okay, so MSNBC, Rush used to call these, like this story I'm going to have, accidental journalism. Like the liberal mainstream media will report a real story, and it's like accidental journalism.
Yeah.
This is MSNBC. They're talking about the Latino vote and the trouble the Democrats are in with it. And of course, they have to get a Hispanic reporter because if you're talking about anything involving Hispanics, you got to have a Hispanic person. I mean, if we're talking about Trump, since he's white, I guess you have to only have white people talk about Trump.
It's insane.
Liberals are so stupid.
This is how they think. I mean, they really just compartmentalize everybody. And, hey, Nancy Pelosi wants to ship in migrants to pick cotton and stuff. So what the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, that's how they are.
Yeah, the way they do things. So anyway,
everything's about race. They make instead of just like this whole thing with the hurricane, like Rick Scott said, that area, Florida is extremely cosmopolitan and very diverse, especially South Florida. There are people from all kinds of places here, even on the West Coast.
I don't know about Sanibel Island. That's probably pretty
maybe
white.
not Sanibel Island, but Fort Myers. I've been there a few times, and it's no different than Fort Lauderdale, really. I mean, there's people from all over, gay, straight, black, white, Spanish, Asian, and everybody needs to come together to help each other. Yeah. But they're on the news sitting there trying to make it about race. And
I'll tell you something.
These are despicable people.
I forgot about this when we were talking about this Coco Chow thing with Trump.
Coco Chanel.
So CNN's Dana Bash is saying Trump is a racist because he used what quite possibly is Elaine Chow's nickname, calling her nickname Coco Chow. Okay, instead of Coco Chanel. What about Kamala Harris, who only wants to give hurricane relief aid to black people?
I mean, why did Rick Scott say that?
And deny white people aid after the hurricane? That sounds pretty racist to me.
Exactly. He should say to her, why don't you have Kamala on here and ask her why she only wants to give funding to people of color?
Exactly. So listen, so let me get to this. So this is MSNBC, and they're talking about how the Democrats are in trouble. They're losing the Latino vote. Listen to this.
You go to vote in November. Are you going to be a doubtful voter?
I'm a doubtful voter now.
As I got older and smarter, I said, hey, this guy doesn't work for me.
That's now backed up by a new NBC News Telemundo nationwide survey of Latino voters, showing support for a Republican-controlled Congress jumped 5 points in just the past 2 years.
We're not just going to blindly vote in one particular direction. We're going to vote in the direction of folks who are going to be paying attention to the issues that are important to us.
Okay, so that's MSNBC. Okay, now here, think about this.
Was that Jose Diaz-Balart? It sounded like.
Yeah, he was a local news anchor here in Miami.
He was on here for many years. I'm very familiar.
His twin brother was in Congress and all
that. That's right.
Okay, this is the deal. If you notice, every poll that comes out, every election, the Democrats lose more blacks, Hispanics, gays, women. The reason they are losing all these groups is in America, we have finally achieved total equality in every aspect of our lives, including financial equality. And when people start to own property and have a little bit of money and can afford to buy something, all of a sudden they don't want to pay taxes to support a bunch of freeloaders.
Well, their perspective changes.
Yeah, because they got skin in the game.
Perspective.
Yeah.
And the guy said, I got older. I got smarter. He probably has a mortgage. He has kids.
Yeah.
And he's no longer a 25-year-old guy running around with his friends. And he's thinking, I'm getting screwed.
Yeah, he realizes he's working till like August just to pay taxes.
I know. I mean, and everybody wakes up at some point.
So all this racial stuff that they're always trying to inject,
it's to control people.
It's a fantasy. We're not. I know the left want us to be all racial and all this stuff now, but we are in a post-racial society.
They only do it, Brian, because they can't win on their platform and on their policies. The only way they can win is by creating a victim and a villain. And if they give you a victim mentality, you're going to always vote for the way they want you to vote because you see yourself as a victim.
Exactly.
And then they have a boogeyman. They have a villain to manipulate you. And then a lot of people like this guy wake up and they realize I am being manipulated. My representative is not representing my. I said this on the show the other day. The big issue, more than Roe v. Wade, more than immigration, is crime. That is going to be the big issue on this ballot because these cities where there's a lot of minorities and a lot of Democratic people typically is going to be the deciding factor is these criminals running loose, people not feeling safe. And I don't care. This is one of those issues that is across the board, something important to everybody. Everybody wants to feel safe and for their children to feel safe. I don't know why they keep electing Democrats in Chicago. They need to wake the hell up. And that is a place that is still not gotten their crap together. They need to wake up and realize that they are electing the wrong party. But a lot of people across the country, you see it now, like in Oregon, there's a race where the Republicans leading for some of these local races are very telling.
Yeah.
And you see district attorneys, school boards, you see all this stuff because the liberals have gotten so radical. I mean, they're letting criminals loose.
That's true.
That people are finally waking up and they're like, I don't want to worry about getting raped or shot going to the supermarket. I want to feel safe. I want my kids to be safe. That is across the board an issue that everybody is concerned about. And when you have an issue that everybody's concerned about, that scares the liberals because they can't race bait you. They can't separate you by race and put you in different categories and say, well, these guys are doing this to you. No, because it's happening to everybody. It brings people together on these issues. And that, I think, is going to be the main issue in this election. Now, listen, is the high crime.
We're going to take our last break of the program. Don't go anywhere. We got some exciting stuff coming up after the break that'll blow your mind. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back.
Would you like to improve your mental health? Find a purpose in life. Stop being stressed and depressed all the time and find your true self? Of course you do, but don't know how or even where to begin. Then the book from author Raphael Serrans, 25 Silver Rules for Mental Health, can help you do that and a lot more. People want to change themselves every day, but they're waking up with the same tasks, interacting with people with the same word stock, and looking at things from the same angle. You will be able to put a stop to that. Find expert tips on improving your mental health. You will find guidance to finding your true self. Learn how to take a look deep inside yourself and your mind. Find the key to harmony of the mind. Unlock the secrets of mental health and bring a balance to your life. You will learn to change your mindset. Discover how to affirm the infinite power inside of you. Find the necessary words that will guide you through your life and start changing your mind today. Stop looking at things from the same angles and embark on a journey and discover your true self and find a purpose in life. Order your copy right now on Amazon. 25 Silver Rules for Mental Health from author Raphael Serrans. Available in Kindle and paperback. There's no doubt about it. We live in a digital age, and if you own a business, digital marketing is your key to success. The book, Shortcuts to Digital Marketing, available on Amazon, is the perfect book for anyone looking to learn new skills or hone existing ones when it comes to digital marketing. In Shortcuts to Digital Marketing, you will learn everything you need to know about digital marketing, the latest updates and tools, and how to become a leading digital marketer. It's filled with insights and strategies for business owners, marketing professionals, students, and anyone else looking to hone their current skills and get up to speed on the latest in digital marketing. In this must-read book, you will find a website design guide, as well as different digital marketing tools. Learn to plan and execute your digital marketing strategies, as well as learn to create videos, content, and a social media content calendar. And that's just the beginning. Take your business to the next level and order your copy of this practical book, Shortcuts to Digital Marketing, available in Kindle and paperback on Amazon. From author Kathy Cushing Calverley comes the book, Coco's Tale, The Corgi No One Wanted. It's based on a true story and is available on Amazon. In Coco's Tale, The Corgi No One Wanted, every night, this little corgi puppy dreams about having a family who will love her. And every day she watches as other puppies find new homes, but never her. She knows she's not super cute like the other puppies. In fact, she's kind of funny looking, but she wants to believe that one day, one very special day, someone will choose to take her home. She'll be loved, and she'll do everything she can to be the best dog ever, just for them. But as more and more time passes, she wonders if her dream will ever come true. And if it doesn't, what will happen to her? Coco's Tale, The Corgi No One Wanted, from author Kathy Cushing Calverley, is a heartwarming, well-written book that both kids and adults will enjoy. Order your copy on Amazon, and make sure to check out the author's Etsy shop featuring cute corgi art. To the C Studios on Etsy. That's the number 2, the letter C Studios. To the C Studios on Etsy.com. The world is a beautiful place just waiting to be explored. The online store, earthswrap.com, assists you to explore the most beautiful places in the world. They carry sleeping accessories, kitchen items, tents, hiking shoes, and much, much more. These are premium quality products that will set you up to explore every part of the world you want to go with ease and preparedness. When you visit the shop, make sure to check out their amazing hiking backpacks, travel bags, outdoor jackets, and hammocks. They offer competitive prices and incredible customer service. Start shopping today so you can explore tomorrow. Earthswrap.com.
You are listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. I want to thank all of our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. And if you would like to become a Patreon supporter and have access to all the exclusive Patreon-only content, become a Patreon supporter. And there's a link in the description of this episode, as well as on my website, briancraigshow.com, the new and improved briancraigshow.com. There's a link to our Patreon page there, and there's many, many perks, including our top Patreon supporters. Get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every episode. The names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, Gary, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Rome, Wisconsin. You guys all know Rome. She's one of the moderators on my YouTube channel. And Macho. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. Now, I did something I don't think I've done this before. And I did this today. This morning, before I left home to go to the radio station, I posted on Patreon a question to Patreon supporters. What would you like Kathy and I to talk about on the podcast today? And we got some responses. And most every single one of them are things I never would have thought about discussing. And so I'm going to go through some of those now. These are just some topics that Patreon supporters suggested that they would like to hear us talk about. Listen to this. Itchy Brain. He's one of our Patreon supporters. He's also pretty active in the YouTube chat. He said if no heaters are going to be allowed in California, and there was an article in The Hill about this.
Oh, my gosh.
And I pulled this up. I know. Can you imagine?
Newsom is an absolute tyrant when it comes to
lunatics.
energy. He is insane.
Listen to this. California moves to be the first state to ban natural gas heaters and furnaces. While this strategy will clean the air for all Californians, it'll also lead to reduced emissions in the many low-income and disadvantaged communities that experience greater levels of persistent air pollution.
So how are they supposed to heat their homes? Exactly.
Oh, you're supposed to freeze to death in your home.
There's no alternative.
You know, this is
chilly in California.
And notice how it's always disadvantaged people of color that just are the brunt of everything. They're the only one. There's dirty air. The air is in the air, blowing all over the place. It doesn't matter if you're in Beverly Hills or on Skid Row. It's the same air.
You got to let people know that because we're white, we breathe special air.
Yeah, we have special gills that take out the pollutants.
That other people don't get to breathe. Because that's how privileged we are.
You know, this thing about heaters, California and Florida is this way too. A lot of homes, because the weather is so nice in Florida. I know this sounds crazy to people. If you go to older people that are new to Florida may not be aware. If you go to older homes in Florida, they don't have heaters in them.
No,
they don't have
heaters. Down here. I don't know about in northern Florida. When it gets chilly there for sure.
Well, yeah, we're talking about South Florida. When I first came to school in Florida, I started the 5th grade in Florida. I was in shock that there was no heat in the school. And I went to multiple schools that had no heat.
No, our schools never had heat.
So what they would have to do sometimes, it gets cold in Florida. It gets down like in the 60s.
It can get cold. Sometimes the 50s.
It can get in the 40s.
My aunt in Canada had no air conditioning. She had to get it installed. It was a big expense because her house was not built with air conditioning.
And in parts of Florida, it does get in the 30s. And California's got warm weather too. But a lot of places don't have central heating that are in warm parts of California, parts of Florida. Believe it or not, older buildings oftentimes do not have central heating. So they have to use, space heaters and things like this.
So if you have a space heater, if you have a heater, how are they? This is what's scary is how they're going to enforce this. I mean, I could see him having a climate change police force.
They'll have your Alexa spy on you.
And they could have... I could see them having, you're going to see, I'm telling you, I'm predicting this now if it hasn't happened already. they're going to have special divisions. You know, they have like Miami Vice division. They're going to have California Climate Division.
Yeah.
And they're going to have a division of cops that are, their whole job is going to be enforcing these climate. I'm not joking. I could see this happening where they go door to door.
Yeah.
And maybe neighbors will start telling on each other if you don't like each other. Oh, he's got a space heater. Because, you know, people might have space heaters they've had for a few years and they're like, well, I'm going to keep using it. Screw this guy. You know, how are they going to know?
So anyway, let me get back to this. These are some topics. I asked our Patreon supporters what are some things they'd like us to discuss on the podcast. So I never would have thought about that. That's a good. That was itchy brain. Yeah. Rome, Wisconsin, she had a whole bunch of topics. Electric cars and flooding, and then the supply chain, shipping containers at sea. Well, let me start with the electric cars and flooding. She said, I covered this on the radio this morning, which I did, but this is the thing. Steve and I were talking this morning. Elon Musk is in the news constantly with the Florida hurricane because he's repositioning the
satellite.
What are they? The Starlink?
Yeah, Starlink.
Elon Musk Starlink internet, which is satellite based. He's repositioning satellites so that people on the west coast of Florida can have internet. And by the way, on our MAGA cruise that Steve Kane and I are having, the internet on board the Celebrity Apex is from Elon Musk's Starlink internet. And everyone tells me it is so lightning fast. I'm excited to use it.
That'll be cool.
But anyway, Elon Musk is all over the news because of the satellites and the internet. I haven't seen a single story about how the Teslas on the west coast of Florida fared during the hurricane. And here's the thing. Okay, water damage can destroy any car.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. People evacuate, okay, and they may take their car, and if they got a Tesla, they'll get as far as they can on the charge. But when they return home or they go to the local gas station that's no longer flooded, what about charging it? You know, I mean, you know,
well, they won't be able to. There's no power.
Well, it's dangerous. I think it would be. I wouldn't want to plug in my electric car to a charging station that had just been underwater last week. I think I'd be scared I'd get electrocuted.
I think the bigger issue is if you're leaving town, I don't know how they run through the battery. I guess you can make the same case for gas when it idles, but there's not a lot of places to stop and plug in your car right now. Maybe down the road they want to have all this, but I just feel those cars are very inconvenient. Like when a hurricane's coming here, Brian will go and fill up. We have like 5 huge gallon things of gas. We have 5 gallon tanks. And he'll go fill those up for the generator or for the car. When we fill up all the cars, this is what we do every year when there's a hurricane. You can't bank electricity for your Tesla.
Exactly.
I mean, you can't like store it. So it's not like the Ghostbusters where you have a thing you can store it in. You have to, it's done in real time. You plug it in, you go.
Yeah.
So you can't have any kind of backup. So say like with these people in Fort Myers, they charge their cars and they were only given really 12 hours notice to leave. What if their car's only charged a quarter full or half full? What do? You know what I mean? They can only get so far.
Well, and here's the other thing with the cars.
Here we can at least store up gas and like say, okay, take the gas with you. Or we can fill up all the cars with the extra gas.
And here's the thing. When people evacuate, they load up the family in the car and they take whatever they can fit in the car with them. The electric cars, the mileage you get on a charge is based on the weight of the vehicle. The heavier the vehicle, the less distance you can get in the car. You really can't escape in a Tesla,
those cars are not that big unless you have the big SUV, which is like $100,000.
And I'm really curious to know after the storm, because the waters have now gone back out to the. How are the Teslas doing versus the regular standard gasoline powered cars? I'd like to know the answer to that.
Well, I know they do have some gas stations online that are pumping gas. People are waiting 4 or 5 hours, so they usually, I think, FPL tries to get the gas stations up first. Because they need power to pump the gas. And I think they try to get them online as quickly as possible so people can get gasoline. But I don't know how many charging stations there are and what the deal is.
Well, no, what I mean is
getting those online.
Like you can get you can get a lot of water in and your car can dry out. It'll start up. I don't know about the electric cars. How do they do? Now, Dee had asked, again, these are topics that our Patreon supporters suggested. What are some important points to be aware of involving Putin? Well, I think we kind of covered that in the first segment, that the United States is pushing him into talking about nuclear weapons as much as possible. And I mean, they're really putting him in an impossible position.
I feel like Putin he has been in power a long time. He's getting older. He has a lot of medical problems, apparently. He shakes and who knows what's going on. I feel like this is like, I said to you the other day, it's like Custer's last stand. I feel like he's gonna go out in a blaze of glory. I hate to say that, but that's kind of
let's hope not.
But I feel like he feels this is his time to make his mark on history and to bring Russia back to what he wants it to be. And he's running out of time. He's not a young man anymore. And I feel that that's his perspective, is he's going to do whatever it takes, screw everybody else to do what he can for Russia and to get I think he's had these plans for a long time. But like I said, he's running out of time. And with Biden in office, he figures, well, I got to do this stuff now because who knows who's going to be in there in 2 years. So I think that's where his head is at. Yeah. Because, all these problems started as soon as Trump left office.
Yeah. So, what's going on? I don't want to rehash what we talked about in the first segment on Putin, but I'm really scared because, and I really am, and I don't get scared about these things too often, to push Russia around like this and act like nuclear conflict is no big deal, to me, is completely insane. And that's pretty scary to me. Well, listen, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. And don't forget, the Brian Craig Show podcast with me and Kathy can be heard on all podcast platforms. No matter what the podcast platform is, you can hear us there, even Audible. We're also on Audible as well as Spotify. And whatever podcast platform you use, you can listen to the Brian Craig Show podcast on it, as well as my YouTube channel, Brian Craig on YouTube. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. And one last thing I want to mention. If you're interested in advertising any type of business or service or anything you have that you want to get the word out about, send me a line at briancraigshow.com. Go to briancraigshow.com, send me an email, and tell me what you would like to advertise, and we'll get back in touch with you if we can help you or not, and if so, and I hope we can help you, how that all works, okay? So go to briancraigshow.com, and you can email us through there. All right, everyone, have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we will talk to you next time.
When it comes to cologne and perfume, you want the scent you wear to say something about you, and you want to make a connection with that scent so it becomes a part of who you are. JCFragrance.com, that's JASI, sell hypnotic cologne and delicious perfume. When you smell good, you feel good. The hypnotic cologne has a perfect blend of musk, bergamot, ambergris, and tobacco. This cologne leaves you with a refreshing and exceptionally long-lasting aroma unlike any other, and it's ideal for casual as well as formal wear. The delicious perfume is a sweet, softly, floral Egyptian musk fragrance. This perfume leaves you with a light, refreshing aroma, and it simply smells delicious. JC is passionate about making everyone feel special at all times through amazing scents. JC is committed to make the world a better place, so part of their profits will be used towards direct charity assistance to help feed hungry families and meet their basic needs. You can also follow them on Facebook. Just search JC Store. JCFragrance.com. That's JASI. JCFragrance.com. Nourishing self-identity through eternal scents.